Okay, so you probably noticed that I went ahead and set up the whole rest of the semester. So um, basically, we have two things left to cover. One of them is updating multiple tables, and the other one is deployment. And so this week, I'm going to be working on getting our stuff deployed one way or another. So if I can't get Azure to cooperate, I will be using a different method. Okay, so by next week, it'll be done and we will be able to complete deployment, which is the last thing that we really have to do. So we are going to cover complex data models. And so if you guys want to open up your Contasso, you should be able to walk through this with me because most of it is hands-on. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be customizing the instructor edit page so that we can change their office assignment and change courses that they're teaching. We are also going to be adding the courses to the Instructor Index page. Then we are going to customize the instructor deletion process because if an instructor is deleted and they were assigned as an administrator of a department, they need to be removed as the administrator because obviously if the instructor no longer exists, they can't be an administrator. And then finally, what we're going to do on the instructor creation page is we're going to add the office assignment and the courses to that page too. Okay, so that's kind of what our tasks are. And I actually have two of these open. So the first thing that we're going to do is add the office to the instructor page. And this is going to be in the edit. So I happen to have one of these completed and running. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So when we go into instructor and we pick edit, okay, we're adding this office location. Okay, in one of the other hands-on, we're going to add the list of courses. Right now, we're just adding this little piece here. Okay, and so to do that, we have to modify our instructor controller. So I'm going to open that up. And does everybody have their project open? Or anybody not have it open yet? So I'm going to take silence as you have it open. All right. So our current edit, we are going to comment that out. We're going to comment out the get, and we're also going to comment out the post. So we have to find where the edit is. And we're going to comment this out. And then right below that, we are going to copy and paste this code. So this is for the get. And the primary difference in this code is what it's retrieving from the database. Because before it was just retrieving the instructor information, and now it's retrieving the instructor information And it's also looking at the office assignment table and retrieving the office assignment, okay, if it exists. Okay, so this little statement is new. And then we've got the where clause, which just ensures that we're getting the information for the correct instructor. Okay, then for the post, I'm going to comment this out. And we have a new one that we're going to copy and paste. So for our new one, you'll notice that our signature does not match, or it does match the get, and before it didn't. So in our old one, we had edit and we had bind, and so they did not match. So they could be called the same thing. Okay, here, our signature is now matching what we have in the get. So we had to change the name a little bit. So we're calling it edit post. And then because we actually want the action method name to be edit, we had to add this action name attribute. Okay, so that's one difference in the code. You'll notice that instructor to update is including the office assignment just like it did before. But if you remember, the post comes into play when we're looking at a current instructor and we change the office assignment. Okay, so it's no longer 21 Tanis building. Let's say they got moved to office number 2. Okay. So we're using the try update model method, which is built in, and we are updating last name, first mid name, hire date, and the office assignment using this method. Okay, then we're checking to see if the office assignment is empty, which means they no longer have an office assignment. And if it's empty, we just set it to null and save the changes. Otherwise, if it had a different number in it or a different building, it would pick that up. Okay, and then we redirect them to the index. And then we have this little retry limit exceeded so that if the server's busy or whatever, it'll keep sending the command. Now, you'll notice that we do have a little red squiggle here, and that is because we need a new using statement added to the top. We need using system data entity infrastructure. So we're going to copy that. And we're going to add that to the top. Okay, so those are the changes that we needed in the controller. Does anybody have any questions about those changes? Okay, so we're moving on to updating our view. So this is going to be the instructor edit view. And at the bottom, right after hire date and before the submit button, so right about here, that is where we want to put the code for that office assignment input box. So we're going to copy this. And we'll paste it right in there. And there's really nothing new in this code. It's stuff you've seen before. So we've got label for, and then we've got the editor for, and then we've got a validation message for. So this is all stuff you guys have seen before. So at this point, we're going to save all, and we're going to run a build. And if you run your app and you go to the instructor page, oops. Of course, I have to start at home first. Where is that? So if I go to my instructor page and I go to edit, oops, it's using my other one. It doesn't like it that I have two. So let's see. Yeah, it's just using the one. What you guys are going to notice is just this. Is that working for everybody?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay. Okay, y'all ready to move forward?
Hold on.
Okay.
So show me what it should be showing, because all I see is office location.
Yes, that is exactly what we just added. We have
Okay.
not added the checkboxes yet.
Oh, okay. I was like, mine doesn't look the same.
Yeah. It's like I want the finished one running so you guys have an idea of what you're creating. And it
Gotcha.
doesn't let me have two of them running at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's easier to visualize what you're doing when you can see how it looks. So, okay, moving forward here to hands-on 2. So what this one does is it adds the courses to the edit page. So now you are going to be putting the courses in here, okay? And it also adds them to the instructor page. Okay, so right now the instructor page does not have courses on it. And after this little change, you're going to see a new column here. So what we're going to do is create a new view model. And this is going to be called assign course data. And we're going to pull in the course ID, the title, and a Boolean that indicates if it's assigned or not. And this is going to go in our view models. So we're going to add a new one. And we're calling it assigned course data. And it's camel case, so the first letter of each word is capitalized. And then the code that I have displayed is what you need in that class. And as I said, all it's going to be doing is storing the course ID, the title, and then whether that's been assigned or not. So we'll save that. And then we need to go back into the instructor controller. And for the edit, we have to add courses to our database query, to our link query. And then we have to create a little private method that actually populates the course information. So you can edit what you have and add this, or if you think it's easier, you can simply copy and paste. And this is for the get, not the post. So the only things that we changed up here was we added courses, and this would be that instructor's courses. And then we're populating the course information in this private method. So it's calling the private method, it's passing instructor, and it's retrieving all of the courses. And then it's retrieving the course ID, and it's using something called HashSet, and that removes duplicates. Because a particular instructor could teach multiple sections of a course. So it's only going to store that once. Then we are creating, using our little view model here, kind of an empty list of assigned courses. And then we go through a for each loop. And we're basically adding the course ID, the title, and whether it's been assigned or not to our view model data. And then you'll notice we take our view model data and we throw it into a view bag because that has to get passed to the view so it can display those checkboxes indicating if the instructor is assigned that course or not. Okay, so this is all part of the get process for editing. And pretty much everything I just said is explained here. And then for post, there is more code for that. So I actually have a link to that. So yeah, this is rather lengthy, but this is what you need now for post. And you will notice that now we switched back to using edit because our signature is now different. Okay, before it was the same, and now with this change, it's different again, so we can go back to the actual name that we want to use. So this is going to replace all of this. So looking up here, I already mentioned that we changed the action method name back to edit. So this little check did not change because if the ID isn't filled in, we have a problem. We aren't going to be able to edit the instructor. We added courses just like we did in the get. We've got try update model just like we do in the get. And what's different here then is we've got update instructor courses where we're passing selected courses and instructor to update. So here's instructor to update. That's what it's getting from the database. And selected courses is coming in up here in the parameters because this is the post. So that means they've hit edit and we want to know what is selected in here when they save. So, I mean, they can make changes and save it. So that would be going through the post. Okay, so update instructor courses is going to take a look at what courses in our view were selected, and we're passing it instructor to update. So then we come down here and we've got update instructor courses, and we're bringing in the selected courses, and then instructor to update object. And it's checking to see if the selected courses are null, which means that instead of checking everything, I removed the check marks. So nothing is selected. Okay, so that's the first thing it's checking. And if nothing is selected, it just creates an empty list and it returns. Okay, then if there are things that are selected, it uses HashSet so that there aren't any duplicates. Okay, and then we have to figure out what courses are selected, and that's what this little section is doing. So it's looking at the course ID, and it goes through every single course, and then it figures out if the course wasn't initially checked and it is checked now, it adds it. And otherwise, it removes it. So if there is a check mark, it gets added. If there's no check mark, it gets removed. And that's what this is doing. So it's just figuring out which courses that instructor was assigned. Okay, and then it comes back up here and we save all those changes and we get redirected back to the index. So does that make sense to all of you how that works? Okay, Jim, where are you at? I just saw your little chat note.
Oh, I'm almost where we were. I just finished updating the edits for the professor. Or sorry.
The office?
Yeah, I'm in the see. Hold on, let me grab it up. I'm in hands-on 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I'm keeping up.
okay.
I'll catch up. I should say.
Okay, yeah, because all we've done is change the 2 edits in there. That's all we've
Okay.
done so far.
Okay, so I changed the first edit, so I just have to do the second one. So
Yep, and there's a link to it right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I found it. Yeah, I'll catch up. Like I said, I'm listening along and following along.
Okay. So once we're done with this, we'll save it. And then we need to go into our instructor edit, which I still have open. And so we've got our office assignment in there. Now we have to add the little check boxes for the courses. And so this is the code for that. And you don't have to type it because I've put the code here for you. So we'll go ahead and add the code and then I'll explain what it's doing. So this code is going to go below the office assignment code and above the submit button. And we'll save that. So what it does is it's basically looking at the assigned course data. It's grabbing that data from the view bag. And it goes through every single course. And this first if statement, this is kind of tricky. This is dividing the table, because you can see we're putting this in a table. It's dividing it into 3 columns. So that's the tricky way of getting 3 columns. And then in each of the columns, this is the data that is displaying. And you can see it's putting a checkbox in each column. So that is how we are getting these 3 columns generated. Okay, this little tricky if statement where we've got an ending row and a beginning row, this is how we're getting that. And then we've got the TDs for our columns. And here we've got the type as a checkbox. The name is selected course. For our value, we've got course ID. And then here's where it's determining whether it's checked or not. Okay, it's looking at course.assigned. If that is true, it's going to put checked equals checked. Okay, it'll put that attribute inside the tag. Otherwise, it doesn't put anything inside the tag. Okay, and then it's displaying the course ID and the course title. So that's how it's formatting those. Okay, anybody have any questions about that? It's kind of a tricky way of doing it. So if you wanted 4 columns, you just do %4, 2 columns, %2. Then in the instructor index, so this is going to kind of complete the instructor edit. And then what we need to do in the instructor index is add this courses column. Okay, and this is the code that will do that. So it's not a whole lot of code that we need to add to our instructor index page. So we're going to go ahead and open up under instructor, opening index. So right after office, we're adding courses, and you guys can type it or copy it, whatever's easier. And then right after the code for the office assignment, which is right here, that's where we're going to put the code for the courses. And because they can have more than one course assigned, we've got this in a for each. And you'll notice that there is a BR tag at the end. So each course is going to list on a separate row. Okay, so it's pulling the ID, which is in this case the number, and the title, and that's what it's displaying. So at this point, if you save everything and you run a build, when you run the app, your instructor page and the edit page are going to look like mine. Because now you have not only the office location, but you have all the courses in both. So does anybody have questions, or did you run into problems with that? Let me know when you guys are ready to proceed forward.
I'm good when they are.
Okay. Okay, for this next one, what we want is if we delete an instructor and they were assigned as a department administrator, we want them removed as the administrator. So this is my department page, and you can see I've got Abercrombie as an administrator. So if I come over here and I delete Abercrombie. Okay, so Abercrombie is no longer an instructor. Okay, they should be removed as an administrator, but the rest of the department needs to stay there. Okay, so that's the little piece we're going to add next. So to do that, we do have to modify our instructor controller. And this time we're going to be modifying delete confirmed. So we've got delete, and then right below it, we have delete confirmed. And so we can go ahead and comment this out. And then we're going to put in our new code. So before in the old code, we were just interested in finding that particular instructor and removing them from the instructor table. And now we are interested in not only looking for that instructor and removing the instructor, but we also have to retrieve all of the data in our department table for that particular instructor ID. Okay, so this little chunk of code has been modified to include office assignment. And this little chunk of code is new because we're looking at our department table and we're retrieving one row or one record for an instructor ID. Okay, so if the instructor ID that we are deleting is in this table, it is retrieving it. So if the department is not null, that means they found the instructor in that particular department. And all we're doing is we're setting the instructor ID column to null. Okay, that will remove the instructor from that column, and that's exactly what we want to do. And then we're saving the changes. Okay, and so there is really no modification of views here. That is the only change we needed to make. We're basically blanking out the instructor in the department table. So we're going to save this, and then you can go ahead and run a build. And you should be able to run the app and do what I demoed earlier. You should be able to go into instructor. I'll do it to Fakori, Fatty Fakori. Fatty Fakori is listed as an administrator. So if I delete Fatty, no longer an instructor, you can see that they are removed, that this has been blanked out in the department table.
Mine's not working for some reason. Oh, wait. Maybe. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
User error.
Okay. I'm glad you figured it out.
Yep.
So let me know when you guys are ready to move forward because we have one change left. I think this is the last thing we have to do.
I'm caught up.
Okay. So the last thing that we need to do is for instructor, when we do create, we need to be able to add office location and assign them courses. Okay, so this is going to be very similar to what we did in the edit because we had to add the office and the courses to edit, and we have to add them to this as well. So again, we're going to modify instructor controller. And this time we are modifying the get and the post for create. Wherever they may be. All right, I found the post. So I'm going to comment out what's there. And then I'm going to copy this for the get. And so you can see that we are retrieving instructor. We have a listing of courses that is empty. And then we're calling populate assigned course data to basically fill in the list of courses. And that method, or that private method, we've already kind of walked through because it's used in the edit. So it's basically calling this to get that view bag full of courses so it can display that in the view. Okay, so it's using it in create and it's using it in edit. And then for the post, we're going to comment that out. And so here is our new code for post. So you can see if you look at bind that we had to add the office assignment to that. Okay, and then we've also added selected courses. So in the create process, okay, when we fill in an instructor, and we assign them an office. Okay, if we check any of these off, this is going to be selected courses. Okay, so that's when it's referring to selected courses, that is what it's referring to. Okay. And so if it doesn't equal null, that means at least one of them is checked. We create an empty list, and then we basically are adding courses to that empty list. Okay. And as long as there are no errors, okay, our model state is going to be valid. It's only invalid if errors have been flagged. Okay. So as long as it's valid, we go ahead and add the instructor data, save our changes, and it redirects back to the index. Okay, so we're going to save this. And does anybody have any questions about what we did for the create get or the create post?
Nope, I'm good. It made sense.
Okay. So the only other change we have to make, because now the controller's changed and the data that it's sending to the view has changed, we need to change the create view. So this is under instructor and we are changing create. And this is the code that we are going to be adding. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and copy that because you can see we've got the office assignment code above it, and then we have that little checkbox table. So this is pretty much the same thing that we did over in Edit. Okay, it's kind of the same code for Create. So where this is going to go is right above the Submit button. Okay, so this is going to give us that little input box for the office. And then this is giving us that little table of checkboxes for the courses. So then what you're going to want to do is save this, or you can even do a save all, just in case you missed something, and then run a build. And then you're going to want to run it, and you should be able to add an instructor and assign them an office and assign them courses. And then you should be able to go in and edit. And you should be able to go into department and assign an instructor. And then you should be able to delete that instructor. And then see that they've been removed from the department. So once you guys are done with this, then you can either put it on GitHub or you can simply run it for me. And so if you're going to run it, you need to add an instructor with an office and assign classes. Then you're going to edit the instructor and change the classes, change the office. Then you're going to add the instructor as an administrator of a department, and then you're going to delete the instructor. Just exactly what I just did.
Yeah, I'm ready to show mine off, Lisa.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing mine, and then you can share yours.
Share screen. It says the host has disabled participant screen
Oh, okay,
sharing.
just a second. They've changed this. Let me fix this. All participants?
Yeah, I think by default now it locks it so only the presenter
Yeah.
can do stuff. My critical
Okay,
thinking class use. Oh, sorry.
now try it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Screen.
Oops, I'm going to stop the recording though, unless you want people to. Just a second, let me see if I can stop.
Okay.